Yes. Welcome back to the Austin Action Addicts. I always want to say Austin Action Fest. It's the Action Addicts podcast. And friends, I am your host, Benjamin Nathaniel Reddick II, aka Lord Violence. And today we've got with us Mr. Joe Barajas. We've got Miss D Rock Royalty, Miss Danielle. We call her aka the Golden Child. Queen of the Universe. I didn't see that title. All right. And then we have our special guest. The reason you're all here. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Samantha Inoue-Harte.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, my first name is Samantha Inoue and my last name is Hart.
Awesome. Okay, I got it. So thank you so much for being with us today, Sam. We're gonna dive into some fun stuff, but before we do any of that, before we get you doing your thing, Danielle has an introduction for you. You're muted. Danielle, you're muted.
Oh, no.
No.
It keeps messing with me today. I don't know what's going on. Everything's messing with me today. My house, my dog, my son's knocking on the door. It's like all this stuff going on. But Samantha, you're here, and I've got something for you. This is something that we do every single time for every one of our guests, and this one is for you.
Aww.
Think about what a princess does for a little girl. She gives her a mirror, a moment where she looks at the screen and says, "That's me. That's who I can be. That's what I can become." Disney has given us some of the most beloved princesses in history, and the world is better for every single one of them. But there is one princess the world has yet not seen. A princess who is half Irish and half Japanese, descended from a samurai warriors and Buddhist priest who ride horses, shoot guns, draw worlds into existence, and fights every single day for the children who have never had a princess to call their own. That princess exists. And today, she is our guest. We are proud to give her the crown she has always deserved. Now let us show you who she really is. Close your eyes for just a moment. Picture this. Yokohama, Japan. A hillside, ancient stone, a temple standing since 1532. Cave temples carved into the earth by hand. Construction began in the 12th century. Pilgrims still come. The incense still rises. 500 years of prayers in those walls. This is Josenji Temple, home of the Inoue clan. Her mother's family, her bloodline, her inheritance, and years of her life, her home. She did not just live there for a little while, a temple. She spent years on sacred ground where monks carved enlightenment into stone in the dark, where every walls tell a story of dedication, sacrifice, spiritual pursuit, where people came seeking transformation. Is it any wonder she became someone who carves worlds into existence for people seeking to see themselves? The Inoue clan were warriors, samurai, sworn to the great warlord Oda Nobunaga. I hope I said that right. And when the legendary African warrior Suki, the first black samurai, walked at Nobunaga's side, the Inoue clan stood witness. That history lives inside her. And she will tell you, every attempt to tell Yasuki's story on screen has been haphazardly handled. She says that not as a critic, but as blood. An Irish Navy corpsman and the Buddhist priest's daughter fall in love. Their daughter is born in Virginia. Raised across Italy, the Philippines, and Japan, she lands in Austin, Texas, earns her degree at UT Austin in 1998, picks up a pencil and begins drawing worlds into existence. That pencil is where it all begins. Classically trained in lineage of Don Bluth and Disney, she animated for DreamWorks on Prince of Egypt and Spirit, for Disney on Lilo and Stitch 2, for Fox Animation on Anastasia, directed animation for Spike TV alongside Justin Roiland, creator of Rick and Morty, taught animation for over a decade. One of her students became the creative director of Castlevania on Netflix. She doesn't just build worlds, she builds the people who build worlds. Sin City, Predators, Alita Battle Angel, Machete, Grindhouse, True Grit, Grindhouse, True Grit, a Troublemaker Studios regular on screen and in VFX. Her voice lives inside Star Wars, World of Warcraft, DC Universe, online as the Mighty Isis, Baldur's Gate 2, over 40 anime titles. She works in every genre, romance to hyperviolence, and she does all of it with equal mastery. She found her home at GONZO, the Emmy Award-winning anime studio, because from their very first show, Blue Submarine No. 6, they tackled racism head-on. Working on Afro Samurai with Samuel L. Jackson and RZA of Wu-Tang Clan, and I can never say this, Gonkutsu Can you tell me how do I say it? How I pronounce it?
GONZO. The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo. There you go. She says it hit her hard. Because anime is global, Gonzo knows that, and she felt completely at home. And here who she is at core. Samantha's half Irish, as I said, and half Japanese, but she has chosen deliberately, with everything she has, to plant her flag in the fight for Black and brown voices in the industry. Because she saw Black characters being voiced by white actors and understood that doesn't change the casting. It changes the race. It changes the story. It changes the truth. On her watch, that stops. Today, she is U.S. head of animated content for GONZO K.K, co-owner of Lazio Arts, one of the first Black-owned dubbing studios in America, built so that people of color have a real seat at the table. Currently producing Ripper and Hotoru with Peter Ramsey, Oscar-winning director of Spider-Verse and Viola Davis. She tells us there's fun stuff with Wu-Tang in the works. When she is not changing the industry, she is competing in SAS. That's the Single Action Shooting Society, cowboy action shooting. On horseback, that is awesome. Riding since childhood, she helped build a firing range in Lockhart, Texas, a safe space for Black people in film to learn to shoot. Find out what you're good at, become the absolute best at it, so whatever anyone needs, that they have to come to you. She told us she is the biggest Disney princess fan you have ever met. We believe her, which is exactly why we know this world has been waiting for her. Samantha Inoue-Harte, the princess the mouse has never dared to dream. Welcome to the Austin Action Addicts podcast. You're one of us. We welcome you.
Oh my goodness. I have never heard, wow. I'm kind of floored right now. I'm like, you guys did a lot of research on me. Because I'm like, how did they know that? Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We try. Wow. But welcome. We're just delighted to have you.
I'm all blushy.
So you can probably tell already this is going to be very laid back. Also, everyone watching at home, Instagram, it's a little bit harder for y'all, but Facebook, YouTube, if you got questions, please throw them in the chat. If we can get to them, we'll definitely ask them. Anyways, back to it. So now that we're diving right on in, tell us about yourself. Like where did this whole journey start? When did you realize this is what you wanted to do?
Oh man. So yeah, I grew up in Asia, right? And so it's I was always surrounded by anime, and honestly, back then I hated anime. Because it's living on a military base, and it's like being surrounded by people who don't speak Japanese, and they me and they would ask me, and it's like, what's going on in the show? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And it's like, and every 5 seconds they would pause, it's like the VHS tape. And, it's like at 8 years old, 9 years old, I'm kind of trying to decipher, it's like, how do I explain this? It's like, and, it was just kind of one of those things, at the temple. I was surrounded by boys, and so everybody always watched, Gundam and Space Pirate Cobra and Fist of the North Star, and I just was like, I don't want to watch Fist of the North Star. I want to watch Cinderella. So I was a big Disney fan. My dad was a big Disney fan, and so it was one of those things where it's when I first came to the US, I just was so excited about I want to take over the Disney company. I want to do animation. It's like I want to make it's like princesses and stuff. I'm tired of seeing Saint Seiya. Gundam. It's like Macross. But I'm probably causing a lot of people to cringe right now.
Oh yeah. There's people upset in the comments. I'm sure we're gonna catch flack for this, but go for it. Speak your truth.
But the thing is that it's I did do some when I got into college. I was like, oh wow, there's an animation studio in Texas. I wanna learn how to do animation, and I hit them up and kept harassing them until finally they were like, okay, it's like, you're not leaving, are you? Okay, might as well come in. I ran that like division of like, annoying, but not too annoying, annoying enough that they noticed me, but also like not annoying enough to be like, no, get her away from us. And so I started working under Sam Fleming, and Sam Fleming, he worked under Don Bluth. And so I got to be his assistant and worked under him for many years, and got to learn how to do animation. And I did work on some stuff for the mouse. But, after a while I was like, ooh, getting to animate Barbie is not cool. I kind of was like, I don't like 90s Barbie. And so it kind of turned into you know what? Maybe anime isn't so bad. It's like there's, on TV, there's Sailor Moon. Oh, wait, it's like they're playing Dragon Ball Z here. Oh, I remember that as a kid. Oh, wait, actually kind of cool. And so yeah, it was just kind of like a happenstance that I switched from it's like working on like American animation to then like falling in love with anime. And I used to go to anime conventions, and there was a Japanese director who got invited to an anime convention in Austin. And at the time I was working over at Powerhouse, and back then a lot of conventions would forget to hire translators for the Japanese guests. And so after closing ceremonies, I saw this lone Japanese guy, and I was like, hey, are you okay? You look lost. And then he starts speaking to me in Japanese. He's like, oh, watashi wa hontou ni nanika tabetai. And I was like, oh, snap, you're Japanese. Oh. And so then, it's like I was like, in Japanese, it's like, you're hungry here. It's like, I'm poor. I'm a college kid, but it's like, I can take you to go get, it's like some chicken nuggets. And so I literally drove him to go get like 99-cent chicken nuggets from Wendy's. and then he was like, and I didn't even ask to know his name. I just knew that he needed help. And then, we introduced each other, and he was like, oh, I work in animation. I was like, oh, I work in animation too, which is, like to go see Powerhouse Animation Studios. It's after hours, but I've got the key if you'd like to check it out. He was like, oh, yes. So I took him to go see, it's like Powerhouse Animation Studios, and he was like, whoa, so big. I was like, yeah, this is not big. This is basic. And he was like, no, so big. You come to Japan, I'll introduce you to some anime studios. I was like, bet. So, although we didn't say bet back then, and so I was like, yeah, I'm aging myself. And so
you're allowed, by the way. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just really interesting. I went to Japan to go see my family, and I was like, well, I'm here. I went and visited him, and he introduced me to a bunch of different studios, and bam, got introduced to GONZO, and we hit it off, and it's been a love relationship ever since. It's a
Oh, that's very cool.
So you were nice to somebody randomly one time, and it turned into like your whole career.
Well, it also kind of helped that I was also working over at Spike TV at the same time.
I mean, yeah.
It's like I was working on a terrible TV show called Fresh Baked Video Games under Justin Roiland. And it was just really ironic that they were like, hey, Japanese, right? And I was like, we're working on a show. It's kind of Afro Samurai. And I was like, oh, okay. It was like, and so it was kind of meant to be, I guess. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. There's in this industry, there's no one way of entering into it. There's just always all these different opportunities, and they're all kind of like tied in some way. It's just a matter of like recognizing when those opportunities happening and then like grabbing it.
No, but also being prepared. You know what I mean? All those things could have happened the same way. And if you hadn't been training, trying, studying, learning, you wouldn't have been ready for any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you were clearly prepared a bit to do it. So that's awesome. No, that's great to know. So like one, I'm excited because that's like Afro Samurai is the perfect thing for you to have been kicked off on, obviously, right? Now, so that means you started basically with where you were working on probably one of the biggest shows in America since maybe Dragon Ball Z. Because I'm trying to think of anything I know of that was as big as Afro Samurai when it came out. Like when it came out, that's all anybody was talking about.
I mean, there's Hellsing. A lot of people were talking about Hellsing.
Yeah, Hellsing.
And then a lot of people
on the box set of that.
Yeah, and then there's Gantz.
Yeah, but I don't remember as many people like normies. I'm talking like just regular normies. I think when Afro Samurai came out here, at least in the United States, I heard more normies talking about anime, even people I'd never heard talk about it before. You got to be it was people who were a little bit deeper into it that were talking about Gantz. Hellsing was pretty popular because
Trinity Blood, because that was on Toonami.
Oh yeah, I watched that. I got introduced to Ninja Scroll, so that was when I started really paying attention. My friends were trying to get me into Macross, and I couldn't appreciate it. I couldn't appreciate it at the time. I wasn't into mechs. I wasn't into mechs at all, and so that and Gundam, I watch them because there's nothing else to watch, but those weren't my things. So Ninja Scroll was the one that really was like, I'm involved. Okay, there's swords. I'm if there's anything with a costume and it's period and people are throwing hands, I'm all the way in. So Ninja Scroll got me in, then like things like Record of Lotus War. Those ones are the ones that like got me really going. But okay, so since you know a tremendous amount about anime, I'm really curious. What's something in your time doing this? I mean, you got years in the field now. What's something that you believe that like most people think about anime that we have completely wrong? Like from the front, it looks like XYZ, but on the back end, it might be like a different story. Is there anything like that?
I actually, like, anytime anyone posts anything about like anime and they're like keyboard warrioring and they're just like, spewing out quote unquote facts about anime production, 9 times out of 10, it's like they don't know what they're talking about. like I'm just like, where'd you get that information from?
What's the kind of thing that you hear a lot? Like,
I'm curious. I'm curious. Yeah.
Like I'll be in the middle of a panel and I'll be like discussing like how I do my job, and I've had like random people in the audience just like stand up and tell me I'm wrong, and then they'll sit there and try and mansplain to me how to do my job, and I'm just like, you want the microphone? Like,
oh my God,
dude. It's it's but I do find that a lot of the information that you find on like Wikipedia is completely off.
Really?
I'll get a lot of people who, like, a Variety article came out a few years ago. I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago, and it literally said that that a producer in an anime studio had informed them that on a per episode basis, that anime cost $100,000 per episode to make. And I was like, what? Absolutely not. It's like, you might get like maybe an animatic for that. It's like, you might get, it's like that. There's no way. At the very least, I don't like to work on anything that's like less than $300,000 per episode. But because those are prices that that were done on anime 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. And so a lot of Hollywood execs, they'll go to Japan and they'll do their it's like search on Wikipedia and be like, "Oh, Cowboy Bebop, it only cost $477,000 to make," or some weird ass number where I'm just like, "What the F?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, I'd like you to make this anime, and it'll be that quality and this price," and I'm like.
Why does everyone you mock sound like some oil tycoon from West Texas? Is it?
I'm just waiting for the chocobo to come out.
I mean, it's like,
oh my god!
Like,
so for somebody that doesn't know anything about anime producing, so what is it that is the cost that is missing for that person you're kind of describing that doesn't really understand what's going on in the neighborhood?
Well, that's the thing, is that it's like they kind of bully the Japanese a lot, where they're just like, it's like, "You're going to do it at this price." And it's like, and the Japanese are like, and so they get bullied into doing prices that are like, kind of doesn't like Cowboy Bebop, that was done like nearly 30 years ago at this point. And there's a thing called inflation. Animation should be at like, significantly higher. It's like 600, 700,000, it's like $1 million per episode. It's like, dude, it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was how many years ago? 2 decades ago? And that was like $1 million per episode, right? It's like even Simpsons is like 1 million per episode back then, and that was like, those are old quotes, and I'm like sitting here going like, "You're really offering $300,000 per episode? Come on, dude." It's like, that's
is it like a cultural thing where these are execs trying to negotiate and push the price down, and are they expecting pushback, or is it, no, this is it, this is our bottom line, you're doing it for this price? Like,
it really depends. Like a lot of like a lot of the more pushy Americans will come in and they'll be like, "Yeah, you're going to do this for $300,000. And it's like, take it or leave it. It's like, there was a project, I will not name that project, but it was a terrible series where it's like, they were like, "We want you to," I knew that they had a bigger budget, because it was advertised, it's like it was closer to like $1 million per episode budget, and I was like, "Oh, it's like, cool, yeah, it's like we can do this animation." And then they were like, "Oh, well, we'd like you to do it for $300,000," and I was like, you're wanting Avatar: The Last Airbender quality animation. You want like Afro Samurai quality animation, but you're asking me to do this for Clifford the Big Red Dog quality. It's like, budget. I'm sorry, dude. I can't help you there. It's like, and we walked away from that project, and it got animated, I think out in India. And yeah, sure enough, like,
wasn't
the quality
good.
Is just
offline. You're gonna have to tell me who that was offline. Spill as much tea as you're comfortable with. If we ask you a question, you don't want to say anything. I tell everybody this: I'm not held accountable for whatever you say or the guest says. There's not a lot of editing, so just bow out. Okay, cool. So where does, on the other side, I guess, where does anime maybe lose money, or where do you see them wasting money when they're doing these productions then?
I mean, really, it's like the Japanese are really, really, like, we're used to being lean and mean on our budgets. It's just that a lot of times, like, one of the productions that I did not work on, thank God, was an American budget project, and they hired a bunch of animators out of Japan, and also, it's like in several other locations across the globe for animation production, and they only gave the animators like that much money, and then they spent most of it where the the animators kept on contacting me, and they were like, "Hey, we need help," and I'm like, "I'm not being paid to help you, but what's going on?" And they're like, "We're trying to get a hold of it's like the producers, and we're stuck at the scene. We don't know what we're supposed to do next. Where are they?" And I was like, "Well, okay, I'll do a solid. I'll contact the producer and see what's going on." And sure enough, the producers were out on vacation. and
Wow.
and so it's like the animation production just kind of floundered because the animators couldn't get in touch with the producers because they were all out partying, and that was, I think, where most of the money went.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like there's no reason why they were like doing all these like vacations, because it was almost like they were always on vacation.
Is it like in the the 90s, 2000s, where they were making when we were doing all the game conversions and people adaptations, and people you could tell really just didn't have a passion for what they were doing? Is it like that, where people are coming and saying, "Oh, there's money here, let's do it. Oh, let's lowball it because we don't care"? Is that what you? It sounds like that's what you're describing to me. People who are not very passionate about the end product.
A lot of it was a lot of it is a mismanagement of finances, right? It's like a lot of American and a lot of Western companies will come into Japan, and they think of the Japanese as kind of like, oh, little elves that, it's like, while America is sleeping, like we're all like up and animating, and when Americans wake up, it's like the animation, it's like it's done overnight, and it doesn't work like that. It's it's like there's a lot of it's like we have to for any like particular thing, we have to have it's like guidance, and we have to like work together and collaborate. But it's kind of a lack of respect where a lot of American I say Americans because that's where most of it's like the U.S. collaborative efforts kind of tend to come in from America.
Yeah.
Not hardly anywhere else. It's always America or China.
So it's always got to be our people messing things up.
It's really hard because it's like if they'll come to me and they'll be like, "Hey, it's like I'm a really big fan of Afro Samurai. I'd really want to make this anime," and then they'll pitch like the worst idea known to man, and I'm just like, if I get pitched. If I had a dime for every time I've been pitched a story about a bunch of, and this is typically from Black creatives, where
of course it is. Of course it is. Paul, before you even say it, here's what I was thinking when you said the thing about it always being Americans. I was like, it's like how I feel whenever I hear anything ridiculous going on in the world ever, no matter what it is. And I'm like, please don't let their photo be, don't be Javante and them. That's like in the back of my head, like, please don't let it be us.
If it's a white creative, it's always a version, a ripoff of Evangelion,
okay,
Trigun, or Cowboy Bebop, but with their own, like people in it.
Okay.
And if it's a Black creative, it's always like a bunch of kids who end up getting magical powers from Egypt, and I'm just like, what? It's and it happens so often, and I'm just like, come on, it's like there's more stories.
Oh my god!
But yeah, if I
oh my god,
I get pitched like Cowboy Bebop again, or a ripoff of Evangelion, I'll be like, no.
Look, okay. The problem makes that so ridiculous. One, I've seen all those. Two, I've seen a couple of different stories with Black people getting Egypt powers.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
We really love some Egypt. I think it's because Gods of Egypt was so bad and it offended us on a cultural, spiritual level that everybody just wants to go back and fix it and just wash the taste of all of that out of their mouth. And that's what it is. Okay. So that's amazing. That's going to be a clip. I can guarantee you. So those are two things you get. Do you get anything else from anybody else, like Latin people? Is it only just black and white people pitching these anime scenes?
Well,
it was like Seis Manos, right? Did that pitch to you guys or anything else like Latin?
Well, the thing is that it's like I work with several really great Hispanic writers, and their ideas are so amazing. It's like I really love working with one Austin, Texas area writer. His name is Rafael Ruiz. He's somebody that we turn to a lot at GONZO for, it's like a lot of like story development. His ideas are fantastic. And it's like so far, it's like with Hispanic writers, their stories were unique. We helped out with so there's a really cool studio, an anime studio out in Peru that we're planning on working with, and they came out with a story which was like kind of a very Dia de los Muertos sort of story, where it's like you have these, it's like these Peruvian monsters that are coming to life, and they, you've got a girl who's kind of like an exorcist sort of character, but she's got vitiligo. And so she's black, but she's got vitiligo, and she's got like magical powers. And so it's kind of like a really dark magical girl sort of story, but with Peruvian monsters and ghosts and demons and things.
Okay.
And so like I'm really digging a lot of the stories that are coming out of, it's like Latin America, Mexico, and South America. They're really creative, and this Peruvian studio, they do a lot of work for several anime studios, and so they do a lot of anime production. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes, as the rappers say, sometimes you got to shine like you grew up in a shrine in Peru. Just it's what comes to mind when you bring that up. But no, that's us. Actually, hold on. Somebody made a comment here. In many fantasy, Angelo says, also in many fantasy genres, there are leaning black people. As his biggest example, Star Wars. Yeah, well, that's definitely a thing we've noticed. We're trying to fix a little bit on our end with our projects, trying to sprinkle some seasoning on the chicken, as it were.
I have a question. I'm just curious. This is just you ever had any black person in the house right here? So I'm just going to throw this out there because I just want to ask. You ever had any people ever pitch you a blend of Native American and African lore mixed together? Since the Native Americans and the Black community were that runs in my family actually, and so that's where it was Irish and Native American and Black all mixed together because they were put together for various reasons.
After that movie Sinners came out, like I've had so many people who are like, Sammy, you guys need to come out with this like Native American vampire hunter story.
I don't know about that, but
I mean, it seems like a little bit on the nose. Weirdly enough, and I'll tell you offline. I don't want to share with everybody. Sinners. But I actually had an idea that dealt with Native Americans, and it was historical. It was action, but it was just Native Americans and Blacks down in Florida. That's all I'll say about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But interesting. I hadn't thought about that since Danielle just brought it up. I hadn't thought about that story in years because it just would have cost too much money to make. But copy that. So what is now that Netflix is kind of stepping in, I think they did Seis Manos, right? I think that was Netflix. I think that was Netflix.
Wait, which one? Which show?
There's another animated movie called Seis Manos, I believe.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Seis Manos?
Yeah, Seis Manos, 6 hands. It was on, it was Netflix. It was 2019. It was actually pretty good. It was actually entertaining, and it was Latin based. But the reason I asked that question is, like, are you noticing more American studios getting into animation, like stuff that's supposed to be done over here? And like, are they doing a good job in your opinion? Is there something that you think they may be missing from a lot of the American produced animation?
Well, it's like, you kind of have at this moment in time, since like, I would say maybe, like at the beginning of pandemic, right? There was this huge kind of like shift in anime, it's like fandom, right? It's like, it was like around that time, or maybe a little bit before, where suddenly it's like anime was everywhere. And anime became, it wasn't one of those things where it's like, young blurs got picked on, it's like in the early 2000s for wearing a Naruto shirt. And, it's like, it was, it's like,
it's cool now.
Yeah.
It's cool now.
It's suddenly it's like you're watching the Olympics and people are doing, like the different, poses of One Piece and you're just like, oh wait, now it's on the world stage. It's like you had that big upheaval, it's like not too long ago and they were flying the One Piece flag. It's like when all these like Gen Z and Gen Alpha were, it's like, fighting against, corruption, and they, it's like, there's the One Piece flag. It's like right there. It's like, it is worldwide now. So
that's awesome.
So like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if I said, it's like, oh yeah, I work in anime, it's like people would laugh at me. It's like, so like now suddenly it's like everybody's like, oh wait, you work in anime. It's like, it's like, so it's kind of it's kind of jarring because I'm very much a homebody. I'm like a hermit. It takes forever to get me out of my house. And so suddenly it's like I'm having people like reach out to me and they're like, I'm about to make an anime. It's like everyone from LeBron James to Will Smith to Idris Elba to, it's like all these Hollywood people are like suddenly like, I want to make anime. And it's like a lot of basketball players, like Megan Thee Stallion, like I
heard about that one.
Yeah, it's like everybody and their grandmother is like trying to make anime. But the thing is that the folks who are contacting the Japanese to make these anime, they might be fans of anime, but they look at Japanese like we're second-class citizens. And so I've been approached multiple times, and I'll the first things that I'll ask, I'll be like, they'll do their elevator pitch to me, and I'll be like, okay, cool. I don't know if that story will resonate, it's like in Japan, but, it's like, do we have some creative say? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
no.
So, like literally, like, I'll just get a big, huge no. And I'm like, so you're coming to us and you want us to animate this for you, right? And they're like, yes. I'm like, so is this like a partnership or is this a work for hire? I'm like, the answer is no. Like that, and that I'll just like put the person on mute or put them on red and just like, never talk to them again. But
have you ever had to be aggressive with a no? Like, this is ridiculous. Why would you waste my time? Has that ever happened to you?
No. I'm normally pretty polite, but I am still very stereotypically Japanese, and so if I don't want to interact with you, I just don't respond. And so every once in a while, it's kind of like those guys in your DMs who are like, "Hey, how are you? Good morning, beautiful." It's like, "Hey, Sam, I want to pitch this idea." And they'll like ramble on with this like storyline. And I'm just like watching the notifications and I'm like, I'm not engaging. No. It's like, and they just, they're like those guys that are just trying to hit on you, and they're sending, it's like eggplant pictures. And,
oh my gosh.
Well, no, they're not literally sending eggplant pictures, but
you're saying that because you probably had someone do that. I've never had those things happen to me. People, I don't know. Maybe it's my face.
You're a guy.
Yeah, but you would think like at least once in my 20 years on social media, somebody would hit me up in the DMs. But I mean, I've been married most of that time. So fair enough. No, fair enough. I've been married most of that time. But I'm just saying, I've never been hit in my DMs, and I feel like I'm missing out on an experience.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
No, not.
No.
Okay.
You're not.
You're not.
Joe, am I missing out? I know you don't know either.
I left my left is on mute because I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. I'm staying right wherever in my lane, man.
Copy that. Smart, good choice, Joe. Good choice. No, but that I could definitely understand that, and I could definitely see with you having your level of power and influence, you're going to be contacted a lot, and I think that's why a lot of people are very hard to get a hold of. Like, you can't just message Spielberg, and there's a reason for that.
I'll get like a lot of times, it's like people will like normally, it's like I'm pretty approachable, right? It's like if somebody's like, "Hey, can I pitch you an idea?" and I'll be like, as long as it doesn't meet this and this and this, as long as it doesn't have anything to do with this, then sure. It's like, but a lot of people don't ask permission. They'll just go ahead and just like,
do.
Hi,
That's fair.
it's like, and then just
no NDA, no NDA, no nothing.
Script. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not even going to read this. I'm not going to open this, dude. It's like, this is a liability. Get it on the computer.
That is the thing that have happened because we're listed as a producer on Slated. And people see the Ballistic Blade and Austin Action Fest, and they'll send me stuff sometimes to my email. And like, that's not how we do this. I'm not going to read for the record, anyone out there, that's not how you do it. Like, just don't do that. Don't send a script. First of all, I'm not opening your document, first and foremost. But second of all, let's do the NDA. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Joe, have you probably had issues with that because you're a producer as well. Danielle, I'm assuming you probably have people try to send you unsolicited work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
lots of different things. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that, y'all. Don't do that, y'all. Don't make a fool of yourself like that. Okay, so we're moving along.
I mean, people are hungry, because some people are some people are really, they are hoping that somebody will see them,
right?
Especially if they look like us. They're hoping that somebody will see them and give them the opportunities that they have not been given. And so but you have to protect yourself because you never know who says that. Oh, well, you that's my story, or whatever that is. So then you have to prove that it wasn't, and then you have it in your email. And they show an email chain. Who knows? So you never.
Yeah, and I've seen it happen multiple times where people are like, "Oh, this would be a really cool idea," and then 5 years later, it's a CW show. There's a couple of times I had ideas, and I mean, I hadn't sent it off to anyone, and so I'm sure they didn't steal from me. But I looked at ideas like, man, that is very similar to something I was already thinking about. So had I, submitted to them, I would have felt like someone stole from me, even though they legitimately didn't. You know what I mean? So that's why you got to be careful about how you handle business. That's not the way that we do business. Chat, it's not how we do business. So give me, I know. Oh, go ahead, Samantha.
I do. I have a question. So Sammy, you were talking about 10 minutes ago, roughly, about like, people bringing ideas where the budget, should be here, and then they're trying to bring the budget down here. Do you see work is work, your value is your value, but do you see with the advancement in technology that coming down, or is anime still just like I know it's there's a lot of time, and that time costs money, but like, is there a point where that comes down at all?
Well, I mean, it's the thing is that, you know, like especially Gonzo, right? It's like we are a studio that focuses on creating new processes and new technology, and we like to push the envelope in our productions. And so so the thing is that, everybody in Hollywood who wants to make an anime, they're always wanting to push the envelope. And it's like, okay, so you have caviar taste, but if all you can afford is the dollar menu, it's like, can you really ask for caviar? It's
Right.
like,
Okay.
you kind of have to pay for those, it's like new techniques, because, it's like a lot of it is like trial and error. It's like you have to see if you can do, it's like X, Y, Z, it's like in creating something, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes, it's like a lot of tests to get, the look just right. And, or if you're, a lot of people, they'll come to us and they'll be like, oh, it's like, I want you to do, it's like the same quality of animation as, the Afro Samurai movie. And it's like, well, that's theatrical quality. That's all shot on one, on a lot of the scenes, it's very high action, high, frame rate. But if you're sitting there giving me, it's like Dollar Tree money, I'm like, son, it's like, what can I do with that?
So they don't bring you.
You get what you pay for. It's like you can't.
Wow.
You have to pay for it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Work.
That kind of.
It is
okay,
interesting.
so I have a question. I have a question off of that. This real quick. Okay, so you've got. This is a hypothetical. So let's say you have a few people that are, they're new, but they've been trying to move in this particular arena for a little bit, but they don't have those connections. They don't have access, and so what is it that you would tell that particular those people? Let's say they have a production studio that they're creatively writing, and they're just doing a lot of different things, but they're trying to make a way in this particular genre. Is there a mid-range that exists that could help to lift up that particular group of people to be able to get to that next step? To where you're talking about. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue.
Oh, I'm done.
So
I hope it makes sense though.
So you're talking about new animators trying to get into the anime industry? Is that what you're asking?
They are anime enthusiasts, and they have created. They're creating. Let's just say they're creating their own studio, but they do not have traction. They are good at what they do, but they have no visibility. They're not. They may have a little bit of social media standing, but they have no in because they're just not being paid attention to. Because it is popular now. There's a lot of traction in larger studios, and so they're getting overlooked. How would you advise these particular people to get to another step? Because the market may be not saturated, but it's very open to the LeBron James, the other people, those people, okay, the Mega Stallions, okay.
So there's like a large number of independent animators that are becoming really popular. So if people are wanting to get into like anime production, it's not as hard as you would think. But it's really about, it's like for me, I came in as somebody who is very traditionalist, right? It's like animators, I don't, it's like when I first got into it, it's like I didn't get to pick, it's like what characters I animated, it's like I would get assigned, it's like, hey, you're going to animate this character today. It's like, okay, it's like, and another day I'd get told, it's like, okay, you're going to animate this character another day. And so a lot of traditional animators had to learn how to be very flexible with our style. Like one day I might be animating on like One Piece. Another day I might be animating on, I don't know, like Dragon Ball Z. Another day I might be animating on Hellsing. Another day I might be animating on, like
those are wildly different.
Yeah, it's like everything is, one day I might be drawing Garfield. It's like, who knows?
Yeah.
You have to be very flexible in your ability to switch gears and change styles. And so that is something that, like, if you're a studio and you're known for one style and only one style, then it kind of limits you in your studio on what you can do. And because it's like everybody is looking for the new thing, the new hot, style, right? It's like, that's why GONZO, if you look at our list of titles, every title looks completely different. We're constantly reinventing, it's like what our characters look like for each and every show. And so, so if you're a new animator and you have your own animation studio, but you only have one style, it's like, that's cool if you can get, a big company like Amazon or Netflix to pay for you to continue with that one style. But it means that you're not going to be able to, get hired at like Titmouse, or you can't get hired, it's like working with, Blue Sky or any of these other animation studios, because like you're kind of limited.
So it can be bad in anime to actually niche down. You want to be more, okay, interesting. Because in the film, we're often told to niche down. In the beginning, a lot of times we're advised to niche down, be very well, do something specific, be very well in that, and then you can get a little broader. I've heard many people say that before. So it's interesting to hear in animation, that's not really the best way to get work. because you don't think of,
makes sense.
If you don't, you just see anime, you go, oh, it's anime. But if you just in your descriptions, one, I giggled because you mentioned One Piece, then you mentioned switching gears, which I thought was cute. And then, but because you don't think about it, but when you were saying that, I was like, man, the fight scenes on those shows are wildly different. Like One Piece, is very, very different from, I don't know, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which is different from Naruto, which is different from, that's Itachi and my guy back there. So it's just interesting to hear you say that. Wow. Look at that. Well, one, Hirsiana loves you. Hirsiana Sula thinks she loves Full Metal Panic. She says she loves you. But Dietrich just asked a question I was getting ready to ask you. Is AI filtering into anime, and what are the pros and cons of AI when it comes to animation now?
So like the thing, I've bitched out a couple of AI companies who's tried to pitch to us, where it's like their whole idea is like, oh well, you can use less artists and less, like you can have 6 people and just hire them and they would be able to handle it. And I'm like, that doesn't help me, dude. It's like my job is to make sure that all my artists have work. Like that's not cool. That's not ethical. So what I focus on is, it's like AI when in the wrong hands is unethical, right? Because it's like their thing is that somebody who's not ethical is thinking about the bottom dollar, how they can save money by not having to pay artists for doing their work, right? It's like it's being able to fire people so that way you can just have AI do most of the work. And when you have AI do most of the work for you, then, it's like it's like a wild horse, right? It's like you can't rein it in. It's like it's going to fucking go wild, and it's like it's going to buck you off at some point. And so, it's skittish as heck, it's like, but sorry, I'm such a horse person. And it clearly shows, but it's like, that's the problem with AI, is that people are letting it just run amok. It's like, oh, they have a horse. It's like, it's never been ridden before, and they're just going to let it run around. And it's like, no, you have to spend time with it. You have to train it. You have to sit there and actually work with it. And it's like, it is not. You have to look at AI in a way that it's like if you are going to use it, you have to use it in an ethical way that nobody loses their job, and it is just a tool to enhance the human touch. If you get rid of the human touch, then you're just going to create mediocre shit.
You always have to understand the foundation. Exactly right. You're right. That's the foundation. And human touch.
Because a lot of AI is literally it's theft. It's like you're stealing other people's artwork to create these things, and so if I'm the most computer non-savvy person that you will ever meet. It's like I like to do things. It's like pencil and paper. I'm very, very traditional in that sense. But it's like if I did have to use AI, I would use it as a tool to make my artist's life easier. It's like it would be something along the lines of it's like, oh, if we're having to take some of our old anime, like say for instance, it's like our anime that we did like 30 years ago, which at the time was 720 by 486 NTSC, screen. Yeah. Right. It wasn't quote unquote letterbox at that time, and so I would maybe expand out. It's like the frames individually, have an artist sit there and draw, it's like some backgrounds, and then have AI kind of, create additional like stretch out the frame so that way it is not NTSC, but it's like letterbox. Yeah. It's like that's how I would potentially use it, but like that would be about it. It's like I'm very, it's like leery about,
That's
it's
fair.
like about it, just because it's like I have to think about like what's best for my artists. What's best for the studio.
And I think that's one of the things is like a lot of us who produce got into what we're doing because we wanted other people to eat. Our thing is, two quotes, if we can't do business, there is no show. And who you feeding? One of the hashtags I like to use, who you feeding, is because the point I got into producing and being a manager and being in charge is so that I could give other people opportunities to work. I didn't get into this just make a bunch of money and fire a bunch of people. That's not awesome. That's not the kind of energy I wanted to bring to the world. Right. So I think that's what you're talking about. There's some people who don't have that desire. They don't care about artists. They are not artists. They're not creative realistically on that side of things. They're just money people, and they don't care if people don't have jobs, which is unfortunate. It is a stance to take. And I'm curious, Daniel, Joe, do you guys have any thoughts about AI? Because I definitely have a couple, but I'm just curious if you all have any other takes on the AI stuff, because it's here.
You first.
Me? Oh, I use AI a lot, and for me, it is how does it make? I'm one person doing my stuff, so how do I use this as an assistant? How do I do a whole bunch of different things? I do use it for music, off and on, because I don't have access, and so but. My reasons are very different than probably most people when they're using it for stuff like that. I think that it is I'm in this process of getting 2 certifications, and one of them is governance, and you actually just touched on it. and that is it's people first. And if you do not know the foundations of who you're serving, and so I'm a Christian person, so I'm serving my neighbors first. And so if I'm not knowing who I serve first, and am I serving the AI or am I serving the humans, my fellow neighbors? AI is not my neighbor. And so I come from a different standpoint when I look at how I do that. So for me, my faith dictates how I use AI, and then how it's going to go out into the world. So I want to employ people. That's my goal. And for me right now, as a one person doing some of the things I'm doing, I want to get to a certain point to where that becomes secondary, and it becomes a tool. It is a tool, okay. But people are more valuable to me than a technology in a sense. Does that make sense?
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Joe, do you have any thoughts on it?
I won't regurgitate what you just said, Danielle, because I share, with the fact that I run about 4 different companies, I share that, right? My wife and I co-own a number of companies, obviously one of them Regardless Productions, where we do produce and want to employ people and not AI. However, in order to run a bigger platform and not employ 15 people when we're not there to do so, we need to use tools like AI that can act as an assistant, like Danielle just said, but it has to be a tool. I'm very conscious that sometimes a tool fails, and when it becomes a tool that costs me more time and money to make sure I'm teaching it the correct way, because you are correct. Everybody on this chat this conversation just said that you have to train it. And if you do not train it, it isn't smart. And it comes out with the dumbest things sometimes when you're trying to work with it. So, it's a tool. I think it's something that can be used to enhance a man and male and female, right? Work. But I don't think that it should be the tool that replaces people, because without people, it's never going to have the proper, like you said, human touch, the soul, the conscious. There's no way.
I saw a video. Some guy sent me a video today of well, for one, we saw that thing. Was it Tom Cruise and somebody fighting on a rooftop, and it was all AI? Yeah. And I was like, this is disgusting. Because we just because I'm already hearing about people losing jobs because of AI, stunt guys, because they're it's easier to just run it through something, and we don't got to think about. So one of the things I heard about was someone was going to do a stunt where they go through a window, and my friend was going to be booked to do that stunt. And what ended up happening is it was like, oh, well, we're just going to do with AI. Well, because if you have a person, you have to rig it, you have to run rehearsals, you probably need a stunt double. You're not going to put your actor through a window, yada, yada, yada. There's cleanup, there's set dressing, there's props, there's all these different things you have to do and employ these different people to make that happen. In AI, you don't have to do any of that. So it's an easy decision for them. And I've seen things where people have superheroes flying, getting chased by water monsters, and it looks great. And I'm like, man, to replicate that in real life would have been a freaking nightmare. So I am not happy that, huge studios are, because whatever version of AI we all have, you already know that they have like some crazier version. And I'm like, that's a lot of people not working. Yeah. So I'm not a huge fan of that.
One thing I will add, I'm blessed to be part of the brass knuckle films community as a warrior. And when I went to one of Rodriguez's functions, he was showing how he was using, Sammy, just like you said, using it as a tool to enhance something he has already done. Rather than try to bring on a team of people, he could use that budget for a future film and then have it enhance just like a passion of his, or even to potentially show like, this was what it looked like from afar. We had a drone back here, and, we didn't have time to come in and punch it, but then AI can come in and kind of bring in that world for him rather than go back out and reshoot it. Right. So like things like that, I think makes sense. I mean, sure, people can say, well, if you'd have just reshot it or got a crew together to go out and shoot it, that's employment, but rather employ them on future work that's going to be more sustainable than to do something that he may use to pitch for a sequel or just as an idea to give reference. Like That's the type of tool, I think, Sammy, am I correct? Is that kind of what you were talking about when you were saying if you were to use that tool that way?
Yeah, it's like, well, the thing is that so in an animation studio, it's like we use, it's like Photoshop, we use After Effects, we use, the Corel Painter, and ton of animation, art related programs. And whenever we get pitched by an AI company, they're always, it's like trying to say, it's like, oh, it's like if you do this, then you can do these storyboards. And if you do, it's like this, then, it's like you can have it do, it's like all your cleanup for you, and you can have it do like all the coloring for you, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that for us, it doesn't really make sense to us to use like the AI that they're pitching to us, because the things that they're saying is very redundant. It's like they're pitching it to us in a sense of like, oh, it's like if you do it this way, and if you use this program, you can have it do X, Y, and Z. But like we already do X, Y, and Z, and we do it really well. It's like, and you're asking us to basically take a chance on this program that, it's like it's like, it's like, well, I'll sit there and I'll test it out, and it's like, and it kind of messes up. It was like when I try and get it to do what I want it to do, and I'm just like, so you're wanting my artist to kind of learn how to use your AI and do something that they're already masters at, and you're wanting them to relearn how to do it again.
And is it a closed system AI, or are they talking to you about things that are like they got a website and it does XYZ and you're training their model? Or is it like a model that would only be utilized by your team? Like, which version are you typically getting offered?
So one of them that they pitched to us recently is like where it's like they wanted us to basically create all these specific characters, right, for this quote unquote anime. And they had, it's like they were showing us examples of what they had. And so it's like they had an artist create, it's like a bunch of drawings of this one particular character. And so they trained their AI to learn how to draw that character from all different angles. And so then they were like, okay, so then I can draw a stick figure, it's like for this storyboard, and the AI will automatically insert that character in over that stick figure. And, and I'm just like, because it's like, well, why would you have somebody just draw stick figures? Why not just draw the character? It only takes a couple of seconds. It's like to draw a rough storyboard. And so it's like they're just kind of just trying to get rid of, it's like all the steps in between. And it just
See, I'm curious.
Doesn't make sense to me.
I'm curious if like someone's offering that to a professional studio, right? So that they can then say, for instance, a group of people who wanted to get into animation and weren't very good at it. If you trained their model to do that, and then they now have the ability to resell it to someone else. And now it's learned.
What I would be concerned with,
That's exactly what they're doing. I have no doubt that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to train that model either for you. So it sounds like two things. One, they could train the model, and the model automatically understands the character, the movement, the layout, does everything, and they can replicate that fairly quickly for somebody else. And that can work in your environment or outside the environment. So now you're not even. Now they're creating stories immediately through, they already have everything already there. So
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, look at what happened with Studio Ghibli, right? It's like suddenly it's like everybody on Facebook was having, it's like their AI avatars of like, it's a Studio Ghibli character. And it's like, oh, look, I've got all these Studio Ghibli animations. Yeah. I made this giant fox that runs across and there's a girl riding on it. Oh my, it's like, I'm just like, this looks like crap.
Yeah.
But
I too want to be Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, exactly. There literally was a girl riding on a giant fox, and somebody was like, "This is going to be the next thing." And it's like, and there was a studio that got caught out in South Asia. I forgot where they were, but they were like they got caught. They were trying to say it's like, oh yeah, we learned how to do like Studio Ghibli quality animation, and then come to find out it's like, nah, they just made it all using AI, and they got found out. And, it's like I'm like, it's thankfully I haven't seen anyone do anything with Gonzo stuff. Crossing my fingers, but it's so bad, and I feel bad for those studios because it's like, they've had AI train on their character designs, and now it's like everything that Ghibli comes out with, are they going to have to compete against this AI version of Ghibli? And it's like that's going to train more of their AI. That's kind of what you have to think.
We are in an unprecedented time right now, and I don't know where the future is going to take us. Hopefully, it doesn't take us there. But the AI conversation is still happening. It's going to be chaotic. The problem is that people are going to use it. The question is are we going to figure out a way to do this stuff ethically? When you see Timbaland using stuff like Suno, that gives me great pause. When the big dogs are using it, then you're just like, man, I don't know how we're going to fix this. But I want to touch on something you said earlier. You said one of the ways you would have used it is to restore an older project. Funnily enough, I got a gig doing that like a month ago, where someone had a movie that was in like 480 and desaturated and all this other stuff, and they wanted me to come back in and basically recut the movie, but all they had was the final file. Mm-hmm. So had to use some Black Magic, DaVinci Resolve in there and some stuff in Final Cut, but I was able to do that, which was interesting. So it's funny because it's exactly what you're talking about. It wasn't wide format, so I had to widen it out, saturate contrast, and do some cleanup on some stuff from a finished file, because that's the best that they had. If there was an older anime that you could work on, that you could restore to luxurious glory, what would it be?
That's a tough one, man. It's not one of ours. I'm such a huge fan of Rosa Versailles.
Okay.
Which is like it's a French, it's a Japanese anime, but it's about the French, it's like revolution and, the storming of the Bastille and Marie Antoinette and all that. And it's the main character, her name is Oscar, and she's pretty much the great grandmother of, Revolutionary Girl Utena and Sailor Moon.
Okay.
And, but yeah, it's like I would love to see that. It's like they came out with a Netflix special movie, which is more like a music video, a 2-hour music video. But but it's and that was great. It's like anyone who grew up on that show, it's like I loved it. But yeah, I would update that in a heartbeat.
You'd update that? Does it need updating? It looks pretty good.
So right there, I think that is the Netflix new movie.
Oh, okay, it's the new one.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm talking about the one that came out in like 1970s.
Ooh, 70s. Golly, I don't think I've caught that. I don't think I caught Rosa Versailles, which is interesting. Now it's on my list. Okay.
Yeah, it was very popular in Italy too. So when I was in Italy, it was always playing on TV, and I was like, "Oh, it's Lady Oscar!" And it's like they had their own theme song to it, and it was great.
Okay, funnily enough, I don't know if you knew this, but that's where I was born.
Oh, were you like military? So Naples?
Of course, I'm military. No, Vicenza.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I was actually
in Naples.
Yeah, that was I didn't get to like understand it much because I left when I was very, very young. I can see what you mean by needing to update that. That makes sense. All right. I'm going to watch the original and I'm going to watch the new one. Okay. It's on my list now. Thank you very much for that.
That's Speed Racer-ish, which was what I used to love. Speed Racer.
Oh, wow.
I was a Racer X person. So sorry. I'm Speed Racer.
Oh, I loved Racer X. Yeah. All things Speed Racer. Heck yeah.
Yeah. That's what I aging myself a little bit, but yes.
Okay. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because this is obviously your absolute wheelhouse, is when it comes to things like, voice acting and stuff like that, that's something you have a lot of knowledge of. What would be your suggestion to somebody who wanted to get into voice acting? Like, would you tell them to rent some time at the studio, make a demo? Would you tell them to buy some equipment? Is it like, what would you recommend to someone wanting to move in that direction?
Well, first and foremost, if you're only going into voice acting because you want to be popular with the girls or with the boys, then maybe voice acting is not for you. I cannot stress that enough. If you're just looking at it as a way of getting clout and getting popular, then no. A resounding no. Because voice acting, the main word that you want to focus on is acting. You have to have a passion to act. It's like being one of those types of people that has to perform. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's performing, it's like on a stage or it's like in front of your, friends and neighbors or it's like, it just has to be a passion. And so what I would definitely say is that, it's like taking classes, it's like doing improv and doing, it's like learning Shakespeare and like learning the classics. If you can do Shakespeare, then you can do voice acting. But it's like stage acting is always really good because it helps with your with projection and also with your diction and your enunciation, and you can project your voice. And so it's like, if you can act in such a way that you can be heard on the other side of the room, it's like then that'll be a really good thing to know, because once you understand how to act, then it's like learning how to it's like do the voice acting, taking classes on voice acting. There's a lady named Erin Lindquist, and she is an amazing teacher, and she's trained a lot of young voice actors to become lead actors at Crunchyroll. But the thing is like, you'll also have to kind of focus on not just voice acting for anime, but also like for audio books and video games and
Gotcha.
just acting in general. It's like, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. Some of my acting has been like outside of anime, and like being flexible with your acting is because I get a lot of people, I just want to do anime and that's it. And I'm like, no. because the thing is, like, those are the people that they want to get into voice acting so much that that they're willing to do it for free. And when you are willing to do it for free or cheap, then what happens is that companies that hire voice talent are willing to be like, oh wait, you want to do it for free? Oh, okay. It's like, and it kind of lowers the rate, and so you have to really think of it as a business, because it is part of show business, right? And it's like, getting the education, taking the classes in high school and acting, being part of your high school, musicals, and being in college and getting into, like different improv troops and things like that, and, doing stand-up comedy or
Okay.
anything like that is really, really, Shakespeare in the Park, it's those are all tools that you can use in voice acting. And so when you are doing if you are serious about getting into it and you are taking the classes and you're taking, like if you have, say, a speech impediment. I have a terrible speech impediment. And it took me years of training for me to pronounce things in English the way I am. It's like if when I'm really tired, my English, it just bottoms out. Like I drop my R's and L's and
just go back to being Japanese.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. I code switch like a motherfucker. It's like sorry, but it's like it turns into like open the light. It's like it. What means that? It's like I might. I need a push button. It's like, yeah. Like I'm code switching, but the thing is, like, if you have a speech impediment, it's like take some classes on it's like if you have a stutter, if you have a lisp, there are speech coaches that you can get, and I have trained several people who have had terrible lisps, and they were able to actually like figure out how to do voice acting. You have to keep at it, right? It's like it's something that you have to do, and the other thing is that it's like you're going to eventually need to have a demo reel. Our company over at Lazo Arts does provide demo reels. We also provide classes as well, and that's something that you can do. It is. So if you do a demo reel, it is a situation where you get what you pay for. If you're like, oh yeah, I can make my own demo reel, it's like, please don't. Please don't.
I completely understand. As you can see on the screen, there are some classes here for you to take up. Please take a look at Lazo Arts and talk. There's a free consultation in here. Please take advantage of these things. Get some training if you can get some training. Here's one thing I want to mention to people. There's Aaron. All right. Nicholas. Okay. So we got some Jacoby Clinton. All right, cool. So the thing is, I want to stress to people, and this is actually really important. And you're getting people asking questions already. Christian, how much for your demo reel services? Did you want to take that one or?
The information will be on the website, actually. So we have like a whole facts page on there. But you do not want to spend less than like I've seen like one of my jobs for a long time was casting. If you look on my IMDb, you see like that I've got a lot of casting experience. I guarantee you, if somebody's like, if somebody says, "Oh yeah, I can do your demo reel for like $400 or $600," I'd be like, "Run away!" It's like because you're creating a whole script, multiple scripts that fit within 1 minute, right? And a consultation, a person will sit there with you, talk with you, figure out what your tone and what your range is, and they'll create original scripts that will then, it's like, maybe 10, it's like 12 different scripts, and you'll go and you'll record all of them, right? And once those are all recorded, then they'll pick, the top 4 or 5 of those performances. And then they'll cobble them together into a reel for 1 minute. And then we'll have, Adrian create an audio design, which is specifically for each scene. And so say, for instance, if your character is fighting a dragon, and you're having a conversation, you're fighting a dragon in one scene, then our sound designer will spend the time to create a oh my god, I'm starting to get text messages from Disney. Sorry.
See how she just politely flexes on us normies in here with a Disney reference? Just casual.
5-minute flash warning, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I talk to Disney guys.
But yeah, so it's like we'll have, it's like the audio designer and editor, they'll sit there and put it all together, and then they'll add the sound effects to make it seem like you are acting in those sequences, like you are in those characters. It's like you
Awesome.
are that character.
Yeah,
and they
really
might
great.
pick, it's like one character might be, you're a school a school kid in high school. Like, it's like in another scene, you might be a mad scientist, it's like, and your monster has just come to life. It's like, we create, it's like a whole different array of different flexes of your voice.
That's cool.
And we pick the best ones to put in together, and then we'll work with you and be like, okay, here is your demo reel. And a lot of the studios, they won't accept you, into their roster unless you have a demo reel.
Interesting. No, that's actually awesome. One, I wouldn't have known that all that was involved in the creation of the demo, but I guess it's no different than we've done that for stunt people, for fighters or whatever, where you pay us to build a whole short around you and your capability, but you're basically paying us to make a short film for you to show off your fighting ability or show off the things you have the capability of doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't think of that being the same way for a voiceover or for a voice acting reel. So that's actually really awesome. And just for the record, everybody out there, I know that, people are hearing different prices and money ranges or whatever. And I will tell you my take on everything when it comes to money. You spend what you can spend, right? There are times where things are just outside of your budget. And that's when you may have to make some work. The thing is, that shouldn't be the goal. I think a lot of us, we're in the indie space, indie film. We get into the scrappiness and we start making that like the idol, like this is the way to do it. Don't pay people, don't feed them as cheap as possible. My cousin can take the headshot photo. If they're good, maybe, but probably not. They probably are not paid to do that. You probably want to go to someone who actually takes headshots. The thing is that I think
one of the things I might add, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of the things I might add is that, so like I'm OCD, it's like I'm ADHD and OCD at the same time, which is a terrible mix. But one of the things is that, our studio does have a regional Emmy. It's like we have a regional Emmy win and we have a regional Emmy nod. And, it takes a lot in order to get that. It's like, and we have, cast, similar to you as a main villain character in a video game. It's like, and we've had the opportunity to work with, literally an A-list actor, and so that just kind of, it's like helps you kind of put into context of like the quality of the work that we'll provide is going to be really good. I don't know of very many Emmy Award winning recording studios or dub studios in the Texas area. I haven't looked it up. And so, we charge a little bit over $900 for a demo reel, but again, it's like, it's a team of people who are working with you for several weeks to get it done.
Yeah.
And
is this done in is any of this done in Austin or? Can it be done in
we
Austin?
can record from Austin if necessary, as long as it's like the Source Connect, and as long as there's a good enough sound booth that can be connected through Source Connect to our office out in Dallas, then yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But it's like Dallas is also not that far away. It's like a
Sure.
3-hour drive. But either way, it doesn't matter. We do have some of our voice actors are out in like London. We've hired voice actors from across the globe to voice act in our shows and projects. So you're only limited by the equipment that you have.
Okay. Interesting. So, and the reason I say that is because I know a lot of people, like I said, they're hearing different numbers, and we have people who have no money. They are eating ramen noodles right now, about to get evicted. And then you have people who have some money to spend and are really, ready to take something very seriously. And I've been on all sides of that equation. And what I would say is I just want to just caution people is like, if you have the ability to take something seriously and you have the money, you could spend it on nonsense, or you could spend it on your career and your dream and what you're actually focused on. If you're not there yet, that's okay. But just understand there are limitations to what you're going to be able to accomplish if you're not dealing with professionals when you're doing stuff. So you have to gauge the fade, as it were. And that is your decision to make there. I do want to ask you a couple questions before we let you go. These are big ones. So one, have you had to ever push back very hard on a casting decision? Like you didn't want to do something, or someone wanted to do something as from a casting perspective, and you were like, absolutely not. Because a lot of what you talked about was casting and representation. Have you had any like head-to-head, we're not going to budge on this issue, where you actually like won that engagement, and they said, you know what, you're right? Or have you had any stories like that or experiences like that?
So it wasn't anything that was recent, but this was a while ago. I've been a very big stickler on it's like if I'm looking at somebody who I might consider to go onto our roster, either at Lazards or when I was like working at ADV Films, a lot of the things that I look for is you as the person, as the individual. And I do deep dives on your social media, and I do criminal background checks, because the thing is that any project that I cast on, if a person gets invited as a guest at a convention, you're going to be surrounded by young children and kids and young women and young men.
Wow.
And the thing is that if a person gets cast as something, as a character, and they are handsy,
oh wow,
that reflects poorly on me. It reflects poorly on the studio. It reflects poorly on the anime. It reflects poorly on everyone who made a decision to hire that person. And there are some people that I will not hire, because it's like, if I just spend 5 minutes and I can see it's like, oh, excuse me, you were an insurrectionist. You were at the Capitol on January 6th. Oh, son, you are not going to voice act for me.
Oh wow.
Things like that, like because at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to be going to all the conventions that these voice actors go to, and they are representing not just us. They're representing the anime studios. They're representing, it's like the video game studios. They're representing everything else. And if they end up doing something with a young lady who's like maybe 13 or 12 or something like that, or a young boy, who doesn't know, there's a power dynamic, right? It's like, if you are a public figure and you go to a convention and you say, oh, it's like, can I have a kiss? It's like, even if it's on the cheek, it's like, is a person really going to say no to you?
Wow.
Especially if they're surrounded by all their friends. It's like all their friends are going to be like, oh my God, they want to kiss you. It's like, yo, it's like, and at the time it might sound like a good idea to them, but then it's like, they might regret it later on. It's like, it might be something where they felt pressured. It's like, as a public figure, you have to be very conscientious about what you do with a person that is, it's like at a convention or just anywhere, right? It's like, because
that's
you're not on the same level. Like,
no, but even outside of that, like even like on film sets, I'll tell people, like, I'm normally dealing with adults, and it's like, hey, they are, there's beautiful young men and women on that set. You guys can date when we're done shooting. Like, I don't want to have to deal with anything because someone took something the wrong way, or you hit on someone and maybe it's received well with this person, but not with this person. Nope. Just save all that stuff for when we're done. You guys can do whatever you want to. But as far as on the set, like, especially when it's like people that work for me, if you're the you're like a producer or a director or a camera op or whatever, you're part of crew. Hey man, I know the actress looks amazing in that dress. Don't tell her. Don't do that. You can save that for the wrap party. Then you two adults can have that conversation on your own, where it has nothing to do with me. So no, that's actually really, I didn't think about the fact that when they go to the convention, they're still representing, and that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I didn't go further than that, man. I mean, it's all holistic, right? They're all representing, even when they're on set, right? At the end of the day, you might send them to a future publicity. If it's a crew or actor, they may go represent the film, just like in this case, they would go represent the anime. So like, that's really good on your part, Sammy, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that we've been watching with Hollywood too, is that a lot of people have a lot of things to say. One of those is politically on the internet. And I'm like, maybe you don't want to talk about that. Maybe you just want to focus on the movie. Spin that interview back to the movie topic and just not have that whole conversation. It has nothing to do with the movie you're making. Please, all my actors, please, if they bait you into any question, I don't care what it is politically. If we're promoting the movie, just say, let's just talk about the movie. I did one more for you because I know we got to let you go because you're getting called by big wigs, and we're just local filmmakers, and you're getting talked to by Disney. Local filmmakers. After 20 years, what still excites you about this industry? Like, what still gets you like super jazzed about what you do?
Okay, this is going to sound silly, but as you can see by my attire, it's like I literally just came out from like doing yard work, and I'm wearing my tenigiri. It's like I'm wearing like a ratty t-shirt. It's like I like the fact that I'm at a stage in my career where I can just wear what I want in an interview like this, go into work and have a meeting with some Disney execs, go into work at any like animation studio, and I don't have to wear a business suit anymore. Mm-hmm. I have a business suit, and I stare at it sometimes, and I'm like, man, I'm never gonna put that on ever again. It's like I just stare at it. I just like to look at it and be like, yeah, I'm past you. And it's because like the thing is that I feel really sad that I don't have a LinkedIn. I don't know how to look for work in the traditional sense, because I haven't. Like I don't know how to look for a job. If you ask me, it's like, it's like how do you put together a resume? I don't know. I don't know how to put on a resume. I don't know how to do those things. Like, I can give you advice, but it's like I don't know how to do one myself. But I like the fact that I have at any point in time, I'm being pitched so many projects that I have to turn down more than what I can accept. And
That's great.
when I turn down projects, I sit there and I have like a network of people that I work with that I can like send work to.
That's
And
awesome.
so that gets me jazzed where I'm able to support like a little ecosystem of work, and I'm able to provide people with opportunities that I didn't have. You know, it's like that Black people didn't have, that brown people didn't have, that other Asian people didn't have, and it's because I've hit that point where I've gotten so good at what I can do with my job that I know that for what I do, there's nobody better. Like, I am
That's
the
awesome.
best at what I do. I might Forrest Gump my way through life, but I am good at what I can do, and I know what I can do, and so because of that, my reputation precedes me. I don't have much of a social media presence, right? It's like, and it's because I don't want to. If companies want me, they will find me. They do, you know. It's like, and when that happens, you know, it's like I know that they're serious, and then I can pass on the work to other, you know, Black creatives or brown creatives and Asians. You know, it's like it is because I'm able to vouch for them, and it's nice because, you know, it's like I'm able to support minorities in this industry in such a way that like things you can say. So when I first started animation production in Texas, I was one of like 3 women. and I was like one of 2 POCs. You know, it's like there when it comes to women, there was me, Erica, Missy, and Cindy over at Powerhouse, and there was another woman named Samantha as well. But yeah, there was like 4 of us. And then, you know, it's like when it came to people of color, there was like me and Corey Coleman, who now does like Double Toasted. That's it. That was it. That was like the most diverse that you can get in Texas. And we had hundreds of animators, you know. And you walk into a video game studio and it's like, and I'm like, oh, this is very mayonnaise here. You know, it's like there's no flavor there. You know, I feel like I am the raisin in the potato salad. You know, and I'm just like, yeah, man, this isn't gonna work. You know, you know. And I was working on a Star Wars video game over at Aspire Media called Knights of the Old Republic, and I was hired for a short period of time as the lead writer on. And I was like literally walking in their door and I was like, are there any other like person of color? And they were like, no, just you. And I was like,
I think it's hilarious that they knew that. Yeah, you're it. You're it. They didn't have to look at HR. Like, I don't know, maybe Susan in accounting. Nope. Just you.
Like when I approached, you know, the company for Stormgate for the video game that we got to record for, you know, I sat there and I was talking to the audio head, and his name is Alex. I love him. Love Alex Brandon. He's amazing. He also played the voice of Black Adam in DC Universe Online. Comics. He also played. I think he also played Cyborg. He's a little white man, but oh my god, he's got the biggest, deepest black man voice out of you'd be like, oh my god, he does like the best Morgan Freeman, and he does like Isaac Hayes.
Why is it always Morgan Freeman? Always.
Well, he is God, right?
yeah, it's amazing. But he was one of the heads of the audio side of things for Stormgate, and I was chatting with him, and I was like, so how many people of color over at the studio. And I went onto the website. I was like, oh, let me check up Frost Giant. And I looked, and they had one Asian. His name's Howard. And sure enough, I was like, I bet you he works in accounting. And sure enough, he worked in accounting. And I was like, oh, honey, we need to fix this. And so I asked Alex, I was like, hey, can you like pitch like our recording studio? Because there's no color here. Yeah, like, we can be your instant plug-in for color. You know, it's like, and sure enough, you know, it's awesome. Like they were like, you know what, you're right. You know, it's like, you know, instant plug-in, boom. So suddenly it's like it's a world of Skittles. You know? So
they had the salt, you had the pepper. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome.
Like, I brought in the 5 spice. I brought in the cardamom. I brought in the cumin. You know, it's like got some cinnamon.
Goya sazon.
And salt. Gotta have salt. But yeah, you know, it's like that was something where, you know, a lot of companies, they don't think about it, right? It's like when
I agree.
When I was doing casting, I used to post up, you know, casting announcements on Actors Access, you know, and when you post on there, the automatic default is white. You know, it's like when you're posting, it's like if you want something else, it's like you have to actually go through and actually like
wow.
You know, I don't know if you knew that, but
yeah, I don't think it's ever posted to Actors Access. So we use at this organization, we tend to use things like Backstage.
Oh, okay.
Put that out there, you know, sponsor down there at the bottom. If you can see bottom left, just put it out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like, well, I used to use Actors Access, and so I realized like, oh, the default for all of these like acting gigs is white. And so I would start to reach out and I would audition for things, and I would submit myself to all these like white parts, and they didn't think about it. They were like, oh, here's an Asian. Okay, here's a chubby Asian at that. You know, it's like, you don't look very Asian. You know, and it's like, and so I'd get these roles because they didn't even think about it. And so that's actually something that I always tell people, where it's like, yeah, I might say white, but audition for it anyway.
You know what? Now that makes sense to me. I've gotten a lot of submissions where people just absolutely did not care what we requested. Okay, fair enough. Now I will give them more grace now that you've explained that. Because at first I was just annoyed, like, dude, you didn't read the casting. Fine, whatever. But
I like the brass balls about doing that kind of stuff, because I mean, what if you change their mind? I mean, you only know what you're writing at that moment.
That's true. That's fair. And I am flexible a lot of times. If you can convince me, you know, James Drake, there's a role we did for James Drake for this thing we did like way back when, and I wanted like a Native American or a Hispanic lead, because in the feature film that was the short was based on, it's a Latin person, because it's different for the genre I was going for. It's a post-apocalyptic. The genre that would have been a different kind of lead. I'd never seen a Latin person in that role. But James Drake came in, and when I say that dude freaking outacted literally everyone who submitted for that role so badly that there was no way I could and he's like white. He's got a little Native American in him, but he's a white guy. And I was like, he's just so much better than everyone else who submitted for the role. I couldn't justify casting anybody with him. And I didn't really, I mean, he's a cool dude, I love him to death, but like at the time I didn't know him and I didn't really want to cast him. But I was like, he was so much better than everyone else. And he could fight. He was throwing tornado kicks. I was like, I got to put him in here. So I had,
and I won't get too far off topic. We're about to wrap this up. But I had on one of my other features I did, it was a male deputy. And I had tons of male submissions. And then finally somebody just messages me saying, there's too many male deputies. Like, where are the females? And I was like, well, go ahead and submit. And I guess she told others. And I wound up casting 2 or 3 more females. And one of them was one of the greater supporting females, because she just, like you just said, completely destroyed the audition as compared to the male counterparts. Now, I didn't have color, like it wasn't like it was whatever, but it was all male until I was just,
Yeah.
I had that too, where I was for a movie called Jonah Hex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Megan Fox?
Yeah, Megan Fox and Michael Fassbender. And the guy Josh Brolin. I was one of Michael Fassbender's henchmen.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna go watch that.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna go back.
I've seen it. I'm gonna go back. Who I am? It's like I know how to ride a horse. You know, it's like I know how to shoot a gun on a horse. You know, and so there was a lovely scene where we had to chase a train and had to jump onto this train that was like going like maybe 10 miles an hour. But they didn't have any dudes who were short to make Michael Fassbender look tall. I just happened to fit the thing that they needed. It's like it's a girl. Okay, well, we'll just bind her breasts, and so I got to be a brawny man.
A brawny man, boy. I am absolutely.
I mean, most lead actors are short, aren't they? They're like 5'5", 5'6". It seems like sound the perfect height is what we're saying.
I got to find a barbarian dude who's like 6'2", or else I got to figure this. I got to figure this whole movie out in reverse because I'm like, golly, dude. But no, we have went on for a long time. We did not mean to keep you this long, Sam, but we appreciate you hanging out with us and chatting. And we're going to definitely clip this up and put this on the internet for people to enjoy the wisdoms you have shared. Is there anything you want to say to people before we get out of here? I'll give you the last word on that.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, if you are really serious about, like doing voice acting, definitely, it's like check out our website, lazuarts.com. It's we do classes, and we also do demo reels, and the folks there, it's like they work regularly, it's like over at Crunchyroll, providing voice talent over there. So definitely do check us out there. And do keep an eye open over at Disney. There's going to be some fun stuff going on. I'm really excited. Been working a lot with Peter Ramsey, who is the director of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. He's done a lot of stuff on Star Wars: The Mandalorian. He's done a lot of stuff for Ashoka, for Star Wars. But he's such a ham. He's so sweet to work with. It's like do keep your eyes and ears peeled. I'm sure that news will get out pretty soon. And just keep your eyes open. If there's anime stuff, we're going to be coming out with an Afro Samurai fashion line, 2 of them this year. So if you guys like Afro Samurai, keep your eyes open for that. There's going to be more stuff. I'm doing some stuff with the Wu-Tang Clan. I came out with a very limited edition Afro Samurai Wu-Tang Clan shirt over at BlurredCon just the other month. And so yeah, keep your eyes open.
Awesome. Well, we are excited. We're looking for that. Joe, Danielle, anything, your last words before I close out here?
I just say thank you for hanging up with us this evening.
Yeah. You got me out of the house, proverbially.
No, we're going to get you. Yeah, we're going to get you you or some of your people to a festival to talk AI or talk voice acting with our people. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people here in Texas, a lot of game studios here. I don't know if you have enough talent, but I know there's a lot of people who say they want to voice act. I don't know if they can. I know people say they want to. So we might have to figure something out at the next Austin Action Fest. So special shout out to all our sponsors. You can see we got ISA Rock Group, Writer Duet Printing Solutions, Holiday Inn, EO Flicks, Women in Film and TV, Austin, the DCP Works, Wild Roots, in Lockhart, Texas, by the way. I Love Your Money.net, Scriptation, Fairfield, Backstage, love them. Kitty R Blue, Ming House, Shot Lister, iPitch TV, Ballistic Blade, Thrive Productions, Inquisitive Mind Films, and what was the other one? Wait. There was one more. And Joe, we don't have you up here, but what was your name of your organization?
Regardless Productions.
Regardless Productions. All right. We love y'all. Thank you so much for joining us, hanging out with us today. Hope you learned something. Please like, share, subscribe. Do not miss this year's Austin Action Fest. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. There may be Power Rangers involved. I can't say, but probably will be Power Rangers involved. We have indie rights coming. We might have some Street Fighter characters coming. Just stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, Ben Reddick, a.k.a. The Violence Conductor. Love you guys. Keep fighting. And we're out of here.
Grinding through the system, never losing the mission. Action Addicts podcast, our hustle's the vision. Talking film biz, tips with precision. If we can't make deals, then there's no collision. No biz, no show, that's the motto we breathe. Living fast, go slow, dream.